I'm Ashley Joseph. I'm a 28-year-old marketing executive at Thompson Partners, and today I'm going to share how my brother's wedding turned into a complete nightmare that exposed years of toxic behavior. Life hasn't always been easy for my family. When our mom passed away from cancer, I was 16, and my brother Michael was 20. Our dad worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat, so I stepped up to help raise Michael. We became very close during those years. I still remember the day Michael said, "Ash, I got accepted to Stanford." He was so excited, and I was so proud. I decided to use my college fund to help pay for his education. No regrets. Seeing him graduate made it all worth it. Everything was perfect until Caroline Brooks entered our lives. Michael met her at a charity event. I still remember our first dinner together. "So, Ashley, Michael tells me you're in marketing. How quaint. I suppose not everyone can handle the pressure of real estate," she said. That was the first red flag, but I brushed it off for Michael's sake. Then came the constant digs. "Darling, you really should update your wardrobe. Those outlet store pieces aren't doing you any favors." My best friend Rachel even noticed it. At the engagement party, she whispered, "Did you hear how she talked to you? Like being single is some kind of disease." Even my colleague David picked up on her attitude at the office holiday party. He told me, "Your future sister-in-law asked if I was your supervisor." When I said no, she rolled her eyes and said, "Figures." But Caroline's mother, Martha Brooks, was even worse. Picture a classic wealthy snob, multiplied by 10. "Michael dear, are you sure you want to live in that neighborhood? We could help you find something closer to our area," she said. Planning the wedding was a nightmare. Whenever I tried to help, Caroline would dismiss me with, "Oh, don't worry your pretty little head about it, Ashley, these kinds of events require a certain expertise." Then I met James, Caroline's brother. At the engagement party, he pulled me aside and said, "I'm sorry about how they're treating you. They do this to anyone they think is beneath them." He even told me they had ruined his best friend's career just because he dated one of their cousins. The worst part? Michael was so in love that he couldn't, or wouldn't, see what was happening. Every time I brought it up, he would say, "Ash, you're just not used to their way of doing things. Caroline comes from a different world, give her time." If only I had known what was coming at the wedding, maybe I could have prepared myself. The week before the wedding was brutal. Every bridesmaid meeting I tried to attend was rescheduled without anyone telling me. Then, at the rehearsal dinner, Caroline dropped the final bomb. "Oh, Ashley, didn't Michael tell you? We had to make some last-minute changes to the wedding party. Too many bridesmaids would look cluttered in the photos." And just like that, I was out. I glanced at Michael, but he looked away, clearly uncomfortable. Caroline, however, didn't hesitate. "Darling, we discussed this. My sorority sisters have already coordinated their schedules. We can't possibly change things now." The wedding day arrived, and I put on my best fake smile. I helped Michael with his tie, just like I had on his graduation day. "You look beautiful, Ash," he said softly. "I'm sorry about the bridesmaid thing." "Hey, it's your day," I replied, trying to sound cheerful. "Let's make it special." For a while, everything seemed perfect, until the reception. Caroline stood up, holding a glass of champagne in her perfectly manicured hand. Her designer dress probably cost more than my monthly rent. "I'd like to thank everyone for coming today," she began, smiling sweetly, "especially Michael's sister, Ashley, who's basically been the family servant all these years." A ripple of nervous laughter spread through the crowd. "I mean, who gives up their own future to serve others? No wonder she's still single, too busy playing mommy to actually build a life." The room went dead silent. I felt every pair of eyes turn toward me. My face burned with humiliation. Before I could say or do anything, Michael grabbed the microphone. Michael turned to the crowd, holding the microphone firmly. "Actually, Caroline, let me tell everyone exactly what my sister did when our mom died." The room fell silent again as Michael's voice grew steady and strong. "Ashley gave up her college fund, every penny she had saved since she was 12, so I could go to Stanford. She worked 3 jobs while finishing high school to help Dad keep our house. She's not a servant. She's the reason I'm standing here today." Caroline's face turned white. "Michael, darling, I was just joking." But Michael wasn't done. "While you were spending your daddy's money at prep school, my sister was helping me with calculus homework at midnight after her shift at the diner. She's not single because she was playing mommy. She's single because she puts others before herself, something you clearly know nothing about." Caroline's face flushed. and she stormed out of the room, her white dress trailing behind her. Martha leapt up, waving her hands frantically. "Everyone, please, my daughter is simply overwhelmed. Ashley dear, you know how emotional brides get, though really, airing family finances at a wedding is so common." Murmurs spread through the crowd as guests exchanged glances, many shaking their heads at Martha's obvious attempt to save face. Later, as the reception was winding down, James pulled me into a quiet corner. His expression was serious as he took out his phone. "Listen to this," he said. He played a recording, and Caroline's voice rang out. "Once we're married, we'll gradually phase her out. She's so clingy with Michael, it's pathetic. Mom's already found us a house in California." Then Martha's voice followed. "Perfect, darling. We'll make sure Michael sees how his sister is holding him back. A few well-placed comments about her dependency issues, and he'll come around." I felt sick, but at the same time, a strange sense of relief washed over me. Their true colors were finally on full display. James's face was grim. "There's more," he said quietly, "a lot more, and I think it's time everyone knew the truth about my sister and mother." 2 days after the wedding, Michael called me in tears. "Caroline's giving me an ultimatum," he choked out. "She says either I cut you out of my life or she's leaving. She claims you've always been jealous of her." I stayed calm, remembering James's recordings. "What do you want to do, Mike?" I asked gently. "I don't know anymore. Everything's falling apart," he admitted. "She maxed out our joint credit card on a shopping spree after the reception. That's when things started unraveling. James sent me an email with court documents. Ashley, Caroline was married before, to some rich guy in Boston. And guess what? She never actually divorced him." As I sat there stunned, Rachel burst into my office, waving a stack of printouts. "You won't believe this," she said breathlessly. "Caroline has pulled this exact same stunt with 3 other families. She targets successful men who are close to their families, drives a wedge between them, and then bleeds them dry. Even David, my colleague, joined in after digging through social media. Look at these posts from 2019, he said, showing me photos. She's wearing an engagement ring in Miami, but it's not from your brother or her first husband. It was a trail of broken relationships and deception. Meanwhile, Caroline started unraveling too. Her Instagram became a weapon. Some people pretend to be loving sisters while secretly sabotaging your marriage. But Martha's carefully built world was also crumbling. The SEC announced an investigation into Brooks Realty for major fraud. James explained over coffee what he had uncovered. They'd been running a Ponzi scheme through their luxury real estate developments. Mom's been cooking the books for years, and Caroline knew about it. She was using company money to fund her shopping addiction. Caroline's desperation hit a peak when she started gaslighting Michael. Baby, remember how Ashley tried to talk you out of college? She wanted to keep you dependent on her. But Caroline's lies finally caught up with her. Michael received a LinkedIn message from Thomas Bennett, Caroline's ex-husband. Your sister called me. I should have warned you sooner. Caroline did the same thing to my family. First, she isolated me from my sister, Kate, claiming Kate was trying to control my life. Then she drained my accounts. She told everyone Kate was spreading lies, but everything Kate said turned out to be true. By the time the truth was fully exposed, everything Caroline had built was falling apart. I finally figured it out. Caroline had already moved on to her next target. Michael forwarded me a message from Thomas Bennett. She never even filed our divorce papers. Along with it, Michael wrote a single line, I'm so sorry I didn't listen. I watched silently as Caroline's world fell apart. Her real estate license was under review due to the fraud investigation. Her once loyal social media followers turned against her as more victims started coming forward. I didn't need to lift a finger, karma was handling it all. That night, Rachel brought over a bottle of wine. Girl, you okay? She asked. Actually, yeah, I replied. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. Sometimes, the best revenge is letting toxic people destroy themselves. But the real satisfaction was still to come. The next day, a headline flashed across my phone, Brooks Realty CEO arrested in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Martha's mugshot was everywhere, gone were the designer suits and smug smile, replaced with an orange jumpsuit and streaks of smeared mascara. The scandal exploded when Thomas Bennett went public. She was already married when she married Michael. Can you believe it? The whispers at country clubs turned into loud roars. Caroline's carefully crafted image shattered like cheap glass. Michael called me, his voice shaking. Ash, she took out loans in my name, credit cards, personal loans, everything. She forged my signature. I'm looking at almost $300,000 in debt. Caroline's last desperate move was predictable. She started accusing me. Ashley Joseph orchestrated this whole thing. She planted evidence, manipulated James, and turned my own brother against me. But Michael's lawyer shut it all down. Mr. Joseph, this marriage was never valid. She was legally married to someone else. Caroline's social media meltdown was epic. She posted a 30-minute rant, accusing me of everything from theft to corporate espionage. Unfortunately for her, the real estate board didn't appreciate her false claims. Her license was revoked, just like that. 5 years have passed since then. I'm now the marketing director at a Fortune 500 company, and my team's latest campaign just won an industry award. As for dating? Well, I'll leave that story for another time. When I want to date, I do, but I'm not chasing it. My life is full enough. As for Michael, he found himself again. He met Sarah, a kindergarten teacher, at a volunteer event. No drama, no designer labels, just real love. Their small backyard wedding last summer was everything a wedding should be: simple, beautiful, and filled with joy. The end. Now, I have a question for you. What would you have done if you were in my position? When Caroline sent that message asking for help, would you have given her a second chance, believing she had truly changed after hitting rock bottom? Or would you have stood firm like I did, knowing that some bridges are better left burned? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences with toxic people who came back asking for forgiveness after karma caught up to them. If you enjoyed this real-life story of karma and justice, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about standing up to toxic people. Your support helps this channel grow, and trust me, I have many more stories to share.